Dyslexia is a genetic learning disability that affects how an individual sees letters and numbers. This also hinders comprehension skills, as it is a struggle to get from sentence to sentence. With Do You See What I See? Friends, family members, teachers, and other students will get a glimpse of how a dyslexic sees text. The first realization I had about being different was in reading groups. When I heard others talking about important aspects in the chapter we read, I was wondering if we even read the same book. I could not point out major plot lines because I was trying to keep up the same speed as other students. In second grade, the same year I was diagnosed with dyslexia, we had reading time during class, and we were allowed to keep the book that we were currently reading on our desks. I didn't want others to know that I couldn't comprehend anything, so I made up for it by keeping 5 books on my desk. I was hoarding them. I laid them out so everyone could see how many books I was reading. I didn't even have any room to do my schoolwork because my tiny desk was being taken over by a mast. There is a stigma that dyslexics are lazy, and I understand where people are coming from because without the knowledge and experience that I have today, I would also give a kid a goofy look if they stared at me blankly after just reading something. It's hard to explain because I thought that this is how everyone saw words, and we were all just confused together. After transitioning from second to third grade, I thought things would be better since my teacher and I were now on this level of understanding. However, my new teacher was not informed that I was dyslexic. I felt embarrassed at the time, so I didn't even say anything until halfway through the year. Now I realize that dyslexia, to them, was not as serious of a thing to address. I think they thought dyslexia was something I could be taught out of. Last year, I made these glasses to help me read easier. I was always in smaller reading groups and had tutors basically up until college. Luckily, my tutor Paula was also dyslexic. She shared her tips with me, and one of those tips was to add color to text. By making the words anything but black on white paper, it helped the letters not jumble around. In the past, I used transparent pieces of colored plastic to hold over what I was reading, and that works until I have to write something down, so the glasses provide a better solution. Now that I have found my strengths and I know how to work through my weaknesses, I'm not ashamed to talk about my dyslexia. As a photographer, my favorite subjects to photograph are portraits and products. This finished form of the past project was a fictional narrative for a product in advertising. With most of my textbooks and research material being online, it's a pain to hold something up to the computer screen and to transition it into writing down notes. Not only is my reading impaired, but I write backwards better than writing normally. Backwards meaning from right to left instead of left to right. Now, when the letters are dancing and I'm writing backwards, it's a recipe for disaster for another teacher, classmate, or even friend to understand what I'm explaining. With the colored lenses, it calms down the dancing, and I'm also able to see my writing in color, preventing things from getting lost in translation. I still write backwards, but for personal prompts. Please enjoy my short film, Do You See What I See? And I will go into artists and theory afterwards. Now, René Magritte is my first inspirational artist, and he was a surrealist painter that specialized in biomorphic abstraction. His work is otherworldly. This piece, The Palace of Curtains 3, has language and image side by side. There is the noun sky, and then a reflection of the sky is in the other mirror. Magritte is challenging the relationship of text and image, which urges us to ask, what is the truth? This confusion of reality with common objects is how I feel looking at text. I see it in front of me, and my brain creates this theatric show within the letters. I cannot tell you what the truth is within those words, but if you show me a picture, I'll tell you a whole story. Janie Geiser works in multiple mediums, but is best known for her recontextualization of abandoned images and objects work. I was inspired by her short film, Fluorescent Girl, because of the distortion on the girl in the photographs. Geiser was enhancing the unknown girl's ephemerality, or for the Greek term, lasting for a short time. The girl is seen and gone, and we still don't know who she is. This is how text plays tricks on me. It looks all discombobulated straight to my face, and then poof, the information is gone. Dyslexia is the opposite of ephemerality, as it is with you for life. David LaChapelle is successful in many realms of the art world, but I am inspired by his photography, specifically his Rape of Africa, which refers to Botticelli's Venus and Mars. There is so much visual depth to LaChapelle's work that I can see it clearly. Usually when I look at something two-dimensional, it looks like a Pollock painting. I like to mimic LaChapelle's use of depth to make my photos appear more three-dimensional. One of these ways I show depth is with light. In this still life, I am demonstrating how important light is to give an object shape. When light is straight on, the scene looks flat, but as the light moves around, the minor details stand out, making the scene more visually appealing. Creating depth is one of the aspects I hone in as an artist. Light is what drew me to photography in the first place, because for once in my life I could look at something two-dimensional and not be confused by it. LaChapelle is also a great compositor. Here I have combined images to create a story that I could not have told with words. Phonological skills are one of the main aspects tested when determining if someone is dyslexic or not. They include sentence structure, memory, writing, number order, etc. Basically anything that you can be tested on to level up. Unconsciously, we look at letters from top to bottom. The capital letter N is the most commonly misidentified because of its diagonal. When letters and numbers move around so much, this pinpoints weak spots that I tried to avoid. Reading out loud especially became something I avoided at all costs. I said the words how I saw them, so I mispronounce words all the time. Semiotics is the relationship between sign, object, and meaning. Saussure and Peirce are two theorists I connect to. According to Saussure, language is the most important sign because it relates to our culture. Language is what allows us to function as humans and communicate with each other. He quotes, "Language does not reflect reality, but rather construct it." This is what makes it so hard for dyslexics to function in an academic setting because written language is their worst enemy. Peirce believes that people use signs to communicate with each other. Therefore, what people are talking about is deemed as most important in their culture. Going back to the story of my new third grade teacher, I doubt anyone was really talking about dyslexia, especially with her being a new teacher, because dyslexia was something that wasn't marked as important for her. Cognitivism is the study of art theory claiming that art contains knowledge that is only taught to us in unique and powerful ways. Dyslexia is not a topic that is taught in the classroom. Luckily, my mom was aware of dyslexia and she found the signs within my writing and artwork. It was the more artistic forms that presented my dyslexia. Barry's Galt coined the term aesthetic cognitivism, meaning that art can teach us something valuable, but it is up to the aesthetic capacity to determine how much one piece can teach us. Dyslexia is something that doesn't go away. You just learn a better way to cope with it. Cynthia Freeland focuses on function. Once the function of art is identified, we can gain fresh knowledge. Eileen John's work is about emotion. In order to understand the work, it requires actively feeling the emotions that are in there. The scenes that I had with the chips went from mindless snack to total frustration. The individual response should be part of the cognitive function of art in order to make it most powerful. Thank you so much for watching, and please feel free to check out my website and other social media platforms for more of my work.